Good afternoon and welcome back to Girded with Truth. Thank you so much for joining us today as we continue our series. Today we're talking about a great work. God has a great work for each and every one of us. Yes, we are part of this collective mission to spread the gospel. But other than spreading the gospel, bringing people to Christ, other than all of the things we have to do, there's a physical work that God has for you to do and for me to do. Mine may not look like yours, and yours may not look like mine. It may interlock at sometimes, it may look like going in separate directions sometimes. But no matter what it is, God has an individual work for each and every one of us to accomplish. Nehemiah chapter 6 verse 3 says, "And I sent messengers unto them, saying, I am doing a great work, so that I cannot come down. Why should the work cease whilst I leave it and come down to you?" So we ended off last day by talking about Sanballat and Tobiah and how they were requesting Nehemiah to come and have a little conversation with them. Well, this is Nehemiah's response to them. He was like, "No, I am doing a great work. I am doing the work of the Lord. I am doing the work that the Lord has assigned me to, and I am not going to come down to meet with the likes of you." So Nehemiah responded according to what God commissioned him to do. He was focused on what he had to do, and he would not let any distraction or deception come to interfere with the work God had assigned to him. Nehemiah chapter 4 verses 16 to 20 says, "And it came to pass from that time forth that the half of the servants wrought in the work, and the other half of them held both the spears, the shields, and the bows, and the habergeons, and the rulers were behind all the house of Judah. They which builded the wall, and they that bare burdens, with those that laid it, every one with one of his hands wrought in the work, and with the other hand held a weapon. For the builders, every one had his sword girded by his side, and so builded. And he that sounded the trumpet was by me. And I said unto the nobles, and to the rulers, and to the rest of the people, The work is great and large, and we are separated upon the wall one far from another. In what place, therefore, ye hear the sound of the trumpet, resort ye thither unto us. Our God shall fight for us." So Nehemiah said, okay, are you trying to fight against this work of God? It's all hands on deck. So Nehemiah called forth everybody and put their hands to work. They were half working and half guarding. And then he switched it to everybody working with one hand and with the other hand ready to draw their weapon. They had their weapons on them and they were ready to draw their weapon. They had to have a ready hand. And Judah was on the outside of all of them. Judah was the God of all gods. And the trumpeters was positioned by Nehemiah, because when anything happened, those trumpeters had was to blow that trumpet and let them know it's time for war. But Nehemiah positioned himself on top of the wall. So therefore the ones to blow the trumpet would also have to be close to him to be able to have a vantage point to see the enemy when they are coming. So Nehemiah had this strategy. He was built for war. He was ready for the interaction with them if they were to come against him and his people. But Nehemiah ended the statement by saying, don't worry about it. Our God shall fight for us. Nehemiah put everything in place that he needed to. He put the strategy in place. He put the men of war in place. He put the people who would blow the trumpet in place. And he was in place. Nehemiah did all that he had to physically do. But he also knew at the end of the day, it is only because of God we can successfully do this thing. He said, don't worry about it. We did all that we have to do, all that we can do. But at the end of the day, our God shall fight for us. Acts chapter 5 verses 38 to 39 says, And now I say unto you, refrain from these men and let them alone. For if this counsel or this work be of men, it will come to naught. But if it be of God, you cannot overthrow it, lest haply ye be found even to fight against God. So in the book of Acts, they took the approach that no matter what the situation is, if this is not of God, it will perish. But if it is of God, it will stand. And they knew in this situation they couldn't fight against God. So they left the apostles to do the work that God had called them to do. No matter what the work is, it is a great work that God has called you to do. And you must build the wall. You must mend the breaches. You must have a mind to work. But whatever it is, God has called you to a great work. And it is your responsibility to put everything in place that you have to put. And it is your responsibility to trust God, because at the end of the day, our God shall fight for us. Thank you so much for listening. Have a wonderful afternoon. Bye.